No, we're live. You will see the chat screen on the right of your screen where questions will pop up. Um, there's typically about a 30-second delay
Okay,
between
no worries.
us seeing the comments.
Let's see I just shared the screen just to see if we can see that.
Let's see what we're seeing there. Okay, so if I click share, it gives us, we don't want that. Maybe we want this. Oh no, I have to pay for that feature. Mm-hmm. No. Okay, well, this is, you know what it's going to do. I'm going to take you off for a minute. And it's still telling us, oh, okay, now we're live. Oh, great. We have 4 people on. So let's pull this out. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Janet. Uh, finally, we are here. I apologize for the tech difficulties, totally on my end. With me today for this Facebook Live in support of the Healthy Dog Expo is Matt from Rooted Owl, and he's
Hey
going
guys.
to tell us all about this exciting new brand and their first product, and what we can learn and how we can use this uh, the first product for anxiety in dogs. So we're going to attempt a screen share, and we'll see what happens. Uh, So we've only got the small one.
Yeah, and if it's stuck on the small one for anyone
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Stick
joining
with
in
that
on
for a
the
minute. Let's.
yeah, for anyone that's joining the live, thank you for joining. I'm Matt S from the Rooted Owl team here. For those that want to kind of tag along and read through what I'm going to be kind of talking through and introducing, you can just go to rootedowl.com, and that will kind of also show you the same information that you're seeing here on the screen in just a little bit of a smaller format. Just to kind of give you guys a bit of background on Rooted Owl. We are the brainchild of a company called Animal Plant Sciences, which is also a subsidiary of a company called Quantum Life Sciences. So we are a team that is combining pharmacy and those kind of veterinary combinations along with cannabis experts. And we have a lot of background in topicals, consumables, not only for pets but also for humans. And this is a space that, with kind of the changing regulation around CBD, cannabinoids in general, is a ripe area, I think, of innovation for what we're actually offering, our closest to biggest friends, our pets. And this is kind of where Rooted Owl kind of came to be. And we're kind of combining, ancient ingredients blended with modern medicine, as you can kind of see on the screen here. And what that really means is we really wanted to go in and find the best ingredients, both straight from nature, but also from what we know is possible from the sophisticated cannabinoids that we have from CBD, CBG, and all those different derivatives. And the first use case in which we wanted to launch a product into was specifically around the anxiety that pets have around fireworks, social interactions, or even just being overexposed at home, or just by nature are a little bit more anxious than some dogs that just lay on the couch. Some get stressed out for no reason. And we hit the drawing board when it came to actually building out the ingredients for this syringe, fluid-based solution, which allows a all-natural kind of calming sensation to fight these anxiety, kind of inducing different circumstances for these pets. And this is specifically for dogs in this case, of course. And the kind of formulation through the different testing that we have done, we landed on just 10 ingredients that get us exactly to what we want to actually achieve in terms of that calming effect, fighting that anxiety, and actually giving the dog that elation, that kind of relaxation that we expect them to be in that calm, kind of enjoying state. So the ingredients that we've kind of put into our first product, which is called Zen Cloud, are 5 different subsections of cannabinoids, which kind of result in that kind of calming all natural effect. We also have 3 different terpenes that come from the cannabis itself, 1 calming botanical, and then that sesame oil as a agent that essentially ensures that this gets digested and acts in a quick and meaningful fashion for the dog itself. So in terms of all of these, there are no additives. They are all non-GMO, no preservatives, no gluten, no dairy. And this is also with the sensitive diets or the different kind of approach that dogs may have. So we've taken all of this in mind to make a product that is suitable for any dog, no matter their allergies, no matter their approaches. And this is all dosage based as well. So, as you know, if you're on the site as well, we do kind of even explain exactly the exact dosage per weight, exactly how much CBD is in this. So everything in our whole kind of mantra here is to be as transparent as possible. Usually with pet care, usually with CBD, there's a lot of, oh, it's in testing, you don't actually know what your pet is ingesting, and that defeats the whole purpose of trying to kind of push this out. And we have a whole suite of additional products that will be launching through this year and into the next. But this is the first one that we really wanted to take a foothold in, because we don't think that there's enough being done, because we ourselves are in a space now where we are using CBD and THC for various kind of means to kind of improve our livelihood, our day-to-day, and we want to be able to do the same thing for our best friends, our dogs in life as well. So as it kind of relates to this, I did mention we are doing clinical testing as a part of what we're trying to offer here, as a part of that transparency, and have everything that we're rolling out be backed by science and by actual pets through that experience with pet owners. So we're actually in a live clinical study. So for any of you guys that are in Colorado or Connecticut or in areas that are nearby, you can enroll into this clinical study if you have a dog that you would like to essentially test run this product. We would greatly appreciate that, and it's not only free. At the end of the actual trial, you can either be paid in a Visa gift card or in free product if it's something that you also want to continue using, but no obligations there. That's why we're also offering payment. But in terms of the actual commitment, it's one time at the start in terms of dosing, and then there's a couple additional kind of touch points that you're doing at home over a 60-day period. And then you kind of come back with the dog and kind of explain and show and tell us the effects. And we also do testing in the beginning and the end to see that everything went as we essentially planned and wanted to actually do. So this is the email to essentially get added to the clinical study if you're in the Colorado area, and that's the number to essentially also reach out within the Connecticut area to enroll your dog in that clinical study. We greatly appreciate that if you guys be interested. And like I mentioned, there's no cost to any of the pet owner or the pet themselves, and there's compensation for the completion of the study. And to also, further incentivize, you guys for the trying of the product at home, we are offering a 25% off exclusive discount to everyone that's joining the live today. And the coupon code is very simple. It's live 25 because we're live right now, and it also rhymes, so easy to do there. And in terms of where to kind of put this in, as you kind of add it to your cart and go to the checkout, you'll be adding the discount code here, as you can kind of see on the right, and this takes off 25% right off the top in terms of the value of the product. Just to kind of get you guys to try that first pass. We are literally just launching. We launched our site officially last week, and we're going to be speaking at conferences and pushing out overall marketing as this kind of month unfolds. So you guys are also one of the first people to kind of learn about what we're trying to solve. So any questions from you guys, any thoughts or anything about this, I'd love to kind of take this to everyone here on the live to kind of go through some more specifics. It'd be helpful to do so.
That sounds great. Sounds great. Let's see if I can do this again. There we go. So we can leave that up for a minute. So this is strictly a hemp product, right, Matt?
Yes, exactly.
So no THC, but all the benefit of the full spectrum of cannabinoids.
Exactly. Yep. So and that's why in the product itself we have like I mentioned those 5 calming cannabinoids and 3 terpenes, but it's
Mhm.
non-psychoactive, no THC. In that marginal percentage of processing as is to be expected in the CBD processing, and
Mhm.
all of our hemp products are also organically grown, and they're also U.S. grown. So farms out in sunlight in the best kind of processing that we have found, and that's also connects to the price of the product as well.
Mhm.
Everything is naturally sourced, nothing is chemically combined, and that also guarantees that we're giving these dogs the best possible ingredients for the cleanest, most effective effect. And that's why the dosage is very small, but the effect is uh, pretty immediate in terms of 10 to 20 minutes in terms of absorption,
That's excellent.
because we recommend either using the syringe to directly apply this to the mouth of the dog. You can also put it on a treat or bread just to kind of help with the digestion. But yeah, so Jane, in terms of your question of what does this help the dog with, so the whole point of the Zen Cloud, as with the name, it's to fight anxiety or fight stress and anything that the dog is going through. Whether you have friends over and the dog gets anxious and stressed and starts barking, or gets aggressive. This kind of brings that natural calm into a dog that normally you would have to use some artificial calming agent, which also
Mhm.
has a lot of side effects. And that's not what we want to achieve there. So in terms of dosage rates, we do have directions for use at the bottom of the page, which for greater than 75 pounds, we recommend starting with that 0.7 milliliter. And then based on the effect, scaling from there. If it's a 120-pound dog,
Mhm.
yeah, I'd essentially start with the dosage at that and then scale from there. And you will be able to see the impact of pushing up the dosage. Because like I said, the CBD and the terpenes come from pure extraction. So they in their combination, along with I can kind of cover the additional terpenes that we have in terms of ingredients here as well. There's linalool, nerolidol, and beta C. Plus, we also have organic ashwagandha root, which is the botanical kind of combination, and the carrier oil is organic sesame oil. Um, yeah. So the additional question from Janet for this is I would say it's both. It could definitely be a replacement for anxiety medicine, depending on the effects. Every dog is obviously gonna react to this a little bit differently. So I would start with an as needed, just to see if it complements or maybe adds to the current treatment of the dog themselves, and then potentially seeing if weaning off of the existing medication kind of maintains that effect with ongoing dosage. Because like we're saying here, there's nothing additive here. There's nothing synthetic. It's all organic, and if we can have the same effect with the dog
Right.
without having to do that prescribed medication, then that's something that is possible, but it is very specific to what the exact condition, which I am not a vet, so can't speak that to that exactly. But yeah, that's how I would recommend and how we've been recommending this at the vet level.
Now, let's say you were using it for thunderstorm anxiety. Would you pre-treat your dog like the storms are coming in at 6 at night? Would you hit them at 4 or maybe 3 p.m.?
Yeah,
with
so
this dose?
exactly. Yeah, so if a thunderstorm is coming, I'd say, at least an hour before to kind of get them into that calming state. And then same thing, Memorial Day, people are going to be out and about, people are going to be coming over,
Right.
4th of July, definitely, and you can kind of continue on, and with the different metabolisms and the different size of the dogs, the continuing dosing will also vary.
Mhm.
And Diane, to your question, the syringe has exactly the milliliter levels. So as you're pulling it out and giving it to the dog, you're going to know exactly how much you're giving it. So it's not a drop basis, because those are usually you'll usually, something that says, even like vitamin D that we take, it's like
Mhm.
1 to 4 drops, and you accidentally put in like 7, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna take that much
Well,
because this
and
needs to be more accurate. Yeah.
drops vary in size based on the diameter of the tube. But I will add this, 5 mLs is 1 teaspoon.
Yep.
So this is just under a fifth of a teaspoon, to give you
Exactly.
a measuring spoon point of reference. Let's see.
Yeah, so this product is specifically for calming and anxiety. And we are going to be launching into the additional kind of suite of products.
Mhm.
This is our first line, as we'll kind of call it, for that is mainly around that calming sensation. So it's not only for anxiety, right? And in terms of, I'd say your applications of key benefits, separation and stress. This is also, helpful for the dog that gets anxious or just stressed by changes of situation or separation from their owner. Like I said, even going to the vet. This is also something that vets recommend. From both our chief medical officer to the vets that we work with. Seeing a dog be anxious at the vet, we also recommend this as a potential. Give this to your dog before coming next time, and they will more likely be a little bit more treatable. And then, travel, fireworks, all these additional stress related elements. All, I think, every pet owner has certain moments of their
Mhm.
day and journey where every pet is affected by this. And I'd say having this in the repertoire that is all organic, is all natural, versus
Mhm.
having to go to some other medication is just
Right.
helpful to have at the home.
The more tools in your toolbox. And I will mention that Dr. Trina Hazza is your veterinary advisor, one of
Yes,
my
exactly.
lead speakers, and one of only 4 integrative oncologists and a cannabis expert. So I'm really looking forward to her talk, and I know she's going to speak a little bit about, this product and using CBDs for anxiety and how to choose the right one, because choosing a good CBD product is a challenge. There's so much snake oil out there
Yeah. And
and so much price variation, and people just don't know what to do.
exactly. Yeah, and because of Trina Hazza's background, we're also, in terms of pain relief and all of
Mhm.
that, those are some of the additional categories that we're really looking for, specifically because she's coming from that oncology background, and also how cannabis in general can potentially fight some of those inflammation
Right.
reactions and those other things. So these are all things from the clinical study side that we're also trying to understand. Even this as a product, how does it affect the dogs at a broader level other than just calming and anxiety?
Yeah.
And to pull in the additional questions as well, to expiration dates and shelf life, that will be provided on the exact bottle as well, but that's roughly between a year to year and a half. Because everything is in organic carrier oils, it's mainly
Right.
the effectiveness of the CBD that you don't want to have too much in terms of shelf life. And then in terms of how often you can use it, because all of the ingredients naturally pass through the dog, even if you're using it, too often, I would say the effects, as with anything else in terms of this kind of usage, pass, and there are no adverse kind of effects from that. But obviously, like I said, every dog is going to be unique. I'm not giving medical recommendations either for each unique pet. So, start with only situational and frequent usage and scale from there. And if there's some reactions, that's also why we want to invite everyone to kind of join these clinical studies that is in the area, because that allows us to get a lot more of those data points across variants of dogs, which we're unable to do. But in all the clinical study testing that has allowed us to launch, there have been no adverse effects at all, and also increased dosage has had no changes in terms of the effect long term to the pets themselves. But again, that's from all the data points that we've had, and that's why it's important to us to continue that testing, to continue that transparency, to understand exactly what potential guardrails to put in. But from all of our testing so far, there have been none of that seen so far.
Good to know. And you knew it was inevitable that someone would ask this.
Yeah, no. So
So,
this is for
human use will broaden the question.
yeah. So definitely for I'd say for pets only. In terms of the way that the formulation is set up, it's meant to bond with the receptors in pets, not in the same effect that CBD would have in the stuff you can buy in Vitamin Shop now and other stores. So I would say to get the effects that you assume would be the case for humans, stick to human CBD products. This line is exclusively for dogs, and that's why I even say that we have chemically formulated the reaction to be dog specific. So this is not a cat product either. Since it's not a cat product, I would say it's definitely not a human product either as well.
That's good. And Janet's echoing something that we on the holistic vet side, there's always a dog that inspires us. And is that the case with you guys as well?
Yeah, so you'll see a bunch of the pictures here. So this is Zara. This is our CEO's gorgeous dog that also has very friendly, but when overwhelmed, gets shaky and filled with stress and loses that love. And really spurred looking into this by our CEO, Karin. And we also developed and used Zara during the initial testing of these products. And Zara is now a daily user of whenever she goes to meet someone, has a little bit of this, titration given to her to kind of keep her that loving self, that friendly self, just so she doesn't run back to Karin and get stressed out or barks for no reason. And he didn't know what was going on because she was always a loving, caring dog. But as she got older, some of that changed a little bit. And it was still the same way with him, but not always with strangers or even little kids that went to pet her, and that was concerning to Karin. And that's at least a part of the story. Also Trina has her own dog that kind of spurned the story in this, but this was we'll call it patient zero of the nexus of the story. And we why we also want to put the word out there and really kind of continue that story is every dog owner, every pet parent is going to have their own story, and we essentially want to give you guys the forum as you guys try the product. There will be the ability to leave reviews and even reach out to us and let us know how this product is actually helping you and helping your dog, because those stories are what's most meaningful to us, and being able to have a positive impact on the dog's life and in tandem thus the pet owner's life of having a easier time kind of coexisting and really creating a better environment. That isn't always the case, right? We can't always control everything in the things that affect the stimuli of our pet. So yeah, that's a little bit about the story there.
That's good to know. Someone had asked earlier, you are bringing product to sell at the expo, right?
Yes, we will have product at the expo. We'll have a Square reader for all your contact list and card payments, so we'll have product there as well. And for anyone that's ordering now, like I said, that live 25 won't that will be 25% off, and that will be active till the end of the month. And we'll kind of keep that through the expo as well. We're also going to be launching very soon into a subscribe and save option, which will also discount the first order and all ongoing orders, but it will not be as high as 25%. So if you guys want the steepest discount that we'll pretty much ever have, this is kind of our launch point at this point.
This is your launch, yeah. And down the road, are you going to be sold in stores or strictly online platforms?
Yep.
Is
So we're going to we'll always have this kind of direct to consumer selling point,
Mhm.
but we are in lots of conversations to be in pet stores, different vets that are going to carry our lines, and
Mhm.
you can kind of also we invite you guys to refer us also to where you would like to see that, and you can
Yeah,
reach out to us via the contact on the website if there is somewhere that you would like to see, a relationship being built that we have not yet started. That is always welcome as well.
yeah, like your local independently owned pet store.
Exactly. Yep.
Um, we try to support those around here more so than the big box stores. And I don't even know if the big box stores carry CBD.
Not all, not like Chewy and any of those.
Yeah, I
They've kind
think
of avoided on the pet side. They've
they,
avoided it because of the
yeah.
lack of testing and the lack of regulation.
Well,
And that
and
we hope that
probably some
changes.
states don't allow it. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't say CBD on Amazon, for example.
yeah.
You can say hemp
Or yeah, or Google ads or anything
oil,
else. Yeah, there's a lot of, there's a
right?
lot of changes in flux. So I mean,
Oh,
Google ads has, Google, for example, has a new program that came out, about a month or two ago, where like California and Colorado, you can say CBD now, and that
mhm,
slowly is changing.
yeah,
But yeah, we're mainly going to be going after independent, kind of smaller pet
right.
stores and pet care facilities, as well as vets and people that have their own practices and want to push this out also to the patients, which are the dogs in this case.
Right, right,
That's exactly the goal.
yeah. Um, so how long does one bottle last? Let's say if it's a golden retriever sized dog.
Yeah,
And
so on the larger scale of dog, I'd say in kind of like daily usage, I'd say about a month. Because like I said, we're only putting that 0.7 milligrams. They are, and for smaller on the dosage of dog, it's probably closer to 2 months.
yeah,
So that's the rough timelining, and like and that's like I'd say one situational dosage instance pretty much every day. Sometimes you may have to use more, sometimes you're not using as much.
mhm,
So I'd say that's the rough estimate. So, we kind of built this to be a product that use and restock once every 1 or 2 months, as is kind of, customary with kind of replenishment, which that was the goal of the sizing of the product too.
and it avoids running near that expiration date for many users.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And if you're on the smaller dog side, if you're using it once a week, you
Mhm.
probably may extend out to like 4 to 6 months. And that's really, the max range we wanted to kind
Right.
of halfway through the half-life of a full year before expiration is where we would like to expect that usage to be.
Absolutely. And as Janet points out, the whole thing, this must have been a frustration that you guys went through. All the different, you can say hemp, you can't say CBD, you can't say THC, you can't say cannabinoid if you're putting it on Facebook. Um, it's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, so it depends what kind of advertising you're doing. We have call outs here on the fact that there is CBD in cannabis. If we are doing
Mhm.
advertising in places that you can't, things are a little bit more gated. Hence why, kind of live talk throughs on the product are always helpful, because it
Yeah,
allows us to essentially get in front of you guys without having to deal with all sorts of hurdles.
definitely. Um, just scanning to make sure we didn't miss a question here. Um, so we briefly talked about Caesar. So you're planning on other products coming out within a month, 2 months? What sort of time frame do you think?
Yeah, so the different lines of the product will be coming out through the year. The next thing that we have coming out of the gate relatively soon, that's coming out of testing, is a treat hollow, that is essentially going to allow this to be put into a treat, and the
Oh,
treat is also made with all organic materials. Is follows all the allergies of because usually there's like a chicken based
mhm.
carrier, but these
Right.
are chicken fat based, so they actually don't have the proteins that trigger the allergies. So that's something that we're working on that will be coming out relatively soon, and that will be essentially a carrier means for the actual Zen Cloud and the other suite of products that we'll be launching in terms of
Yeah.
the different verticals.
Yeah. We had the cocoa therapy ladies on last week, the week before, and they were concerned about people not being able to get liquid product in on a plane if they're flying.
Yeah, so the bottle is 30 mils.
So it's
Planes
small
up,
enough that they should
yeah,
be able to fly with it.
yeah, not an issue at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're lifting the regulations this year, but the where it starts to become hairy is over 100
Okay.
milliliters, sorry,
Yeah.
which is also milligrams. But yeah, so this is totally
Not
fine
in-
to fly with. Yeah.
and they can order it if they're worried. They can
Yes,
order it.
if you don't want to buy and travel with it, that's why you have rootedowl.com. You can ship it to your home. And we are also for the products, there's free shipping as well as no tax on top of this.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautifully. Talking about the treat, I almost think of that as an alternative to one of my least favorite things, which is pill pockets, which contain all that artificial stuff and chicken protein.
Yep.
You could almost slip medication in one of those, couldn't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So this is, that product isn't only oriented to work with our products. It has the
Mhm.
same mindset in it, right? Of the all
Yeah.
natural ingredients, some additional way that it helps, our specific formulation better absorb. But
Mhm.
exactly, it could be used with a medication or anything else.
That's terrific. That is terrific. So how did you come to be part of Rooted Owl?
Yeah.
You know, you
I
said your background is marketing.
Yes. So we are opening a recreational dispensary in New Jersey, and came to kind of come into conversations with the Rooted Owl team, and I joined kind of as the marketing lead here. Taking about a decade of marketing agency experience from the enterprise level all the way down to different e-commerce startups, and also combining that with deep understanding of the cannabis space and some larger pharmaceutical clients that I've worked with over the years. So having being a part of a team that is kind of bridging those two worlds specifically for pet care. I used to work way back when at Mars in the pet care division.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of multiple hats over the years, kind of combined into this here for me. So yeah.
That's interesting. You worked for, as some of us call it, the dark side.
Yes, I come from corporate consulting to agency ownership to these
This
multiple
kind of
additional hats that I wear. And yeah, Lisa, to your question, in terms of the future products, yes, we are in development for pain, inflammation. I'm not going to give more details past that until we actually know what the cadence of our launches are going to be. But those are exactly the verticals that we're looking after. So in terms of general application, that stress, that anxiety seems to be the most pervasive. Inflammation is, a little bit more specific. So that's why, these initial clinical trials on our formulations and impact of these cannabinoids, because there's very few actual clinical studies that have been done for dogs on these things. And we want to lead the charge in these conversations. And as we get more data points on these general effects, we will have our full answers on inflammation, pain, and even some form of, let's say additive treatments for oncology and other things that kind of are, even in humans, we're noticing that combined treatments of, your more, specific medication that comes from those pharmacological approaches and your more natural based ingredients, there is that overlap that needs to happen. And that's what we're also trying to figure out here.
And how long does it take? Let's say hypothetically it was a joint inflammation, joint pain sort of product. From conception to putting it on the shelf, how long is that process, would you say, on the average?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been developing, this product over the last year, and I'd say a lot of the moving pieces to essentially get now that next suite of products. I'd say a lot of the heavy lifting is done, but this, as we can also expect, we're putting in the same kind of care as you would with medication and anything that's digestible for us
Right.
humans. We want to put the same amount of care. So, that's why a month or a quarter, I don't even give a timeline, because what we want to give out, I want to make sure, as the team does as well, that everything here is exactly to the standards of the quality, the ingredients, and the effects that we all would want to give ourselves in the same way we'd give to our dogs. And that's not a level of quality that many pet
Mhm.
supplement brands are actually putting in. So that's that kind of bar that we always want to hit.
Yeah. And of course, by the time you do third-party testing and then uncover a potential problem or something you want to tweak, months go by
Exactly.
as you do that. So it's not a fast process and not necessarily an inexpensive one, and
Exactly.
especially given your level of sourcing. So where are the products actually produced?
So they're produced so that the hemp is grown in the United States, and then the combination of bottling, we're using a Swiss facility that is kind of combining all these things. Hence, also why this is definitely a more premium product.
Mhm.
And then the final packaging happens back in the United States. But from a clinical kind of bonding approach, that's kind of the rundown, and that's because of, like I mentioned, those two parent organizations
Right.
creating products both for humans, and that's the kind of same quality we wanted to take on, because that's actually the biggest gap in the creation of some of these products is fine, you source all your ingredients individually organically, but now when it comes to combining them using really poor chemical
Yeah.
approaches lends up resulting in a poorly produced product.
Right.
So that essentially all goes into that facility. All of that is made there and then shipped out back to our fulfillment center, which is in the United States. So that's how that works for us.
Yeah. And your point is well taken that just because your source was great doesn't mean your finished product is always that way. Because I mean, there are people who used to make dog supplements, uh, source great ingredients and scoop them out of different barrels in the back of a cube truck and sort of mixed them together and called it this product. And it's like
Exactly.
you really step down in quality there.
And then often what we've also seen in the different pet supplements is, let's say their capsule or even something that you're adding into the food, the ingredients they put in, literally they just kind of shook them up and mixed them
Yeah.
together, put them into that, and like that's it. And like here, we have tested the bonding and the way these things work and interact with each
Mhm.
other through the different stages of digestion, how much, what
Right.
falls into what phase where. That has always been always really crucial for us, and that's why Trina, being that kind of vet, advisor
Mhm.
that is central in the development of this product, she has been central in also understanding what do these ingredients do, how do they work together, how do they react with different medications that a dog may be using, and that's why
Right.
we trim down the ingredients to only 10 to minimize any side or cross effects that are happening with anything else the dog is bringing in. And that's why this is really for any dog,
Mhm.
because of the way that the thinking has come into the product.
Yeah, and just because something is natural doesn't mean it doesn't interact with things.
Exactly.
And oncologists, I think, are probably second cardiologists are the most aware of interactions with supplements and other naturals, herbals, that sort of thing, and the drugs that those practitioners use.
Exactly.
And as Janet says, arsenic is natural.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, and that's also the, I'd say natural, organic, and like all these, words mean what they do, but like that's also, for us, being able to, even just show you what the raw form of these things look like
Right.
that is also, important to us. And, we are obviously taking, the derivatives of these products, but all of it is sourced from the actual, physical representation of these versus
Right.
some chemical subderivative, which is also not what we're doing.
Right. And, I always say all medicine pretty much comes from plants. And I like the way you've presented this on the website, that you're showing the actual natural source.
Good to hear. That's also validation that, and
But
as
you
as
make
you
you make
guys,
it very plain and understandable. That's
yeah,
all.
that's good to hear.
Yeah. So any other questions, guys? Yes, and this is why we're bringing people to the expo, because pet owners need to know. And as I said, when I talked with Trina the other day, she definitely wants to cover selection of products and knowing what you're buying. And that's key.
Exactly.
And certainly with pet food, we know we've had recall after recall and misrepresentation. And the most recent paper showed that something like 80% of foods have ingredients listed on or in the food that is not listed on the label.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's a
true.
cross section of kibbles. And sometimes those are objectionable ingredients like dogs and horses, which is just mind blowing.
Yeah, and that's why, we only hope to create less of those anecdotes over time by having this approach and what we're trying to do at Rooted Owl here. So yeah, we'd love to have you guys, try these products live 25 for 25% off, and then I'll bring this back up, for anyone that is in the Colorado or Connecticut area. If you guys want to join the clinical study, like I mentioned, free product kind of given to the dog through that clinical testing that allows us to essentially have a larger subset of pets that are actually being kind of tracked through this process, and that allows us to go to market quicker with the products that we also want to do. So yeah, any final questions?
In these studies, are you doing blood testing or any physical evaluations of the dogs, or just like owner survey of behavior and
Yeah,
activity?
there's basic physicals to kind of see exactly where the dog is in terms of, like, their history, their own medical history. In terms of the exact, whether blood work is done or not, I would say reach out and ask if those are, concerns or anything else there. That I'm not 100% sure on.
Okay, fair enough. And Janet is reminding us of the promo code, which we will share. And I think we've covered everything. So Matt, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day
Of course.
and
No, I
sharing this.
love talking with, potential customers, and also, pet owners that are also follow the mission and the vision of what we're trying to do here. So pleasure's all mine. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, excited for you guys to try the product. If not, ordered online,
Yeah.
experienced, and bought at the expo with any additional questions that you guys
And
may have.
check in at their table at the expo for answers to things that come to mind after.
Awesome. Thank you
All
guys
right.
very much.
Thank you,
Have a good
guys.
rest of your day.
Take care.